I heard this voice whisper in my ear, in my head. He was telling, Orange, meet your son. When I first held him in my arms, I said, yeah, this is my son. So my wife, Alia, we've been married for 10 years already. And for the past 3 years, we've been trying to actively have a baby, get pregnant. And we went through everything, no? We actually went through 3 IVFs to that extent. That's the last stage for you to be able to get pregnant. We even went to Taiwan. We lived there for a month, but it wasn't a success. But by some miracle, we got pregnant naturally. We rushed to the hospital. I couldn't believe it until I saw that heartbeat. Unfortunately, after 8 weeks, we lost that heartbeat. I remember at that point, sabi namin ni Elia, you know what? If this is how God designed us to be, I'll just date you for the rest of my life. I don't have any worries about that, and I'll be happy. In August 2014, we saw Risa Kaupeng, who's also part of the feast. And it was just by accident. We saw her at the mall and she said, you know what? I'm part of the Grace to be Born shelter. It's the shelter for women with unwanted pregnancies. And there's this baby. For some reason, when she saw that baby, and his name is Jacob, we were the first ones in her mind. For me, at that moment, I wasn't really open to adoption. I felt that it was unnatural. You know how Filipinos are, right? When you adopt, if you take someone in who's not your blood, a stranger coming into your own home, it doesn't sit well, in our culture. Part of me is really hesitant to go to that shelter. But this is a big but. Elia wanted to go. We went there, and in Grace to be Born shelter, I remember going there. I didn't know what to feel or what to expect. But ang nakakatawa doon, naghahanap na rin ako ng baby. Sabi ko, baka meron akong kamukha dito, no? So, sino ba yung mga cute dito na kasing gwapo ko, no? But I just saw Elia. Carrying this baby with a smile in her face. And she said, hey, I think this is the baby that Risa was talking about. And she gave it to me. And believe it or not, the first time I held Jacob Gray in my arms, I heard this voice whisper in my ear, in my head. He was telling, Orange, meet your son. And I'm still having goosebumps up to this day, talking about that moment. And I couldn't believe it because when I first held him in my arms, I said, yeah, this is my son. And I still remember him. He was 2 months old. He was a big baby. He looked like 6 months, but he was 2 months old. I remember we went to the US. We even cut our trip short so we could go back to the shelter and go back to the baby and go back to Gray, to Jacob. And I wanted to talk to the director of the shelter. And we wanted to ask if there's a way. What's the process? When we went, we were given an opportunity to take him home that day. Because there was this program for you to be able to foster a child for a day. It's really part of the program of the shelter that if you are being called to foster, to provide a home for the babies in the shelter, it was such a blessing for us to be able to take Jacob home that day. When we went through our adoption process, it was a struggle because for some reason or another, technically we couldn't directly adopt Jacob because we have to be able to go through this process called matching. So we cannot really choose. We cannot really choose Jacob. It's a technicality in the process. We were just allowed to have Jacob stay with us, and we had to bring him back to the shelter. And that was probably one of our biggest challenges, me and Elia. Again, it's a roller coaster, right? Being a parent, in our journey and having Jacob in our lives. Another miracle was, it worked out well. We were able to bring Jacob home with us. We were very grateful. I don't know what words could capture that, but, finally, our family was complete. Our home was complete. I'm just grateful, I feel God's embrace at that moment. I just feel love. So what I would tell those people out there who's still yearning to be parents, who's still in their journey to becoming parents, couples out there who believes that the only way to complete their family is through a child. Well, first off, number one, you have each other. Me and Elia, we promised each other that even if we don't bear a child of our own, we will definitely always have our own home in each other. We'll build a home together. Nothing will stop us with that. But, and this is a big but, if your intention is to be able to really just expand your marriage into becoming a full family, its own ministry, its own church, right? You have to be able to just go for it. There's no perfect formula in becoming a parent. After 8 years of raising Gray, it's the roller coaster ride for us to meet Gray and having him a child. It's a whole different roller coaster right now, raising a child, right? But there's so much fulfillment out of it. So my message to those people out there who wants to adopt, never hesitate. Just go for it. Go through the process, pray, and definitely, again, if you do it out of love, believe me when I tell you, it's just gonna go back to you 10,000 folds, right? In terms of love, yeah.